Morning, everybody. It is time for Tao of the Day. Today is a special day because I'm feeling so much better. Antibiotics, I am telling you, they are so special. There's a special place in my heart for a good antibiotic. I don't take antibiotics very often, don't need them very often, but it turns out when you have a acute abscess of a periodontal variety. These things can change your life. I This past week has been a struggle, but I am coming out of it. Still on a little bit of a painkiller, ibuprofen kick, but really, it's great to be back. I feel so much better. Julie, how are you, my love?
Hurrah! Celebrating that you feel
Yes, yes.
better. That is good news. That is
I
good
can
news.
I can actually close my mouth.
Hurrah!
So yes, I am feeling a lot better and just on the mend, just on the mend. And it's not as if I'm through the woods, because now I gotta get my routines back together. Like Tao of the Day has been something to keep me through all this pain and everything, just trying to keep something regular. And it's been
Yeah.
really nice to have it. And as I'm stepping into the weekend, I won't be doing Tao of the Day, but I will get up and I'll do my hikes and I'll start to run again, and I'll start to get my life back together as I step into trying to solve whatever this dental problem is. But
You're getting there though. You definitely, mission to succeed. I can hear. That's what I
yes, yes, this is every time I do something, like I'm very good at the masculine energy. I'm very good at routine, very good at all of these things, but like sitting with it, that's a challenge, and I've had to face that challenge over the last couple days. So
Yeah.
really, really grateful for that opportunity.
That's it. That's yeah, that is cool. That's a good way of thinking about things. I do like talking to you because you kind of like assist me in that a little bit. That just sit with it. Go on, what's the worst it can do?
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
funny,
yeah.
like, sitting with it rather than doing something. I always like to tell, like, what else are we doing? Like, because I like to really dig into myself and into like who I am and
Mm.
what I do. It's all I always like to tell people. It's just like, I don't know, it's a lot. Like, I do all this stuff and whatever. It's like, yeah, but what else are we doing? What else is there to do in life? Like, go watch a football match? I mean, yeah, okay, that's fun. That's fun. But like, that's 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to do after that? You're just going to fill your life with a bunch of things that are going to end.
Yeah, it's almost like distraction to a
That's
degree.
right.
Isn't it? Yeah,
It's distraction. And as we kind of realize that we don't need to be distracted, we could watch the game while continuing to grow as ourself,
yeah,
right? without
absolutely. Yeah,
without
yeah,
watching the game as a way of escaping ourselves and who we
yeah.
are.
We can be in with the game and ourselves at the same
Right.
time. How cool is
and
that?
and then just like observe, like, oh look, like I'm getting really upset or nervous, or my nerves, and then you can
Yeah,
kind of calm it down and be like, maybe it doesn't matter if we win or lose.
exactly. It's
Maybe
just
it doesn't
experience.
matter. Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
beautiful, and to know that. Oh, and special shout out to Brad and Forrest. I mean, they're doing really great, and I'm hoping that they can sustain the run.
Yeah, they're doing really good, aren't they? He's
Yeah.
pleased. He said, they are playing on the 7th of March, I
Oh,
think.
May. They're
You're
playing.
you're playing you on in May, and
Yeah.
then someone
Oh,
else
they're
is playing on
playing.
7th of March. I don't know if that's your team or our team, but
Oh, you're playing on. Oh, I don't know your schedule, of course, but yeah, but good luck to them. Good luck to them.
yeah,
You
I
know.
know. I've got a reason to listen out for Hull now as well. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Hull is. I've been following Hull for. I watched. I don't know if you follow Hull at all, but I've been following Hull since Dean Windass scored the goal for them when they went up to the Prem. And so
right.
like I knew someone in Chicago who was a Hull fan. he found out that I followed Spanish football because I have Spanish roots. And he
Yeah,
was like, "Oh, well, my team is going to be in, is in the playoffs. Why don't you come and watch with me?" And that was it. Like
that is cool.
I was not a big fan of English football because it's brutish. It's like it's a brutal game. Um
Well, yeah, it,
Especially because I was following Spanish and Italian football up
oh,
until that point.
yeah.
So
Different
so
kettle of fish, isn't it? Different
yeah.
game
And
altogether.
when I watched Hull, like I became a regular at the pubs here in Chicago because like I would start watching. I was the only Hull fan. So people knew who I was, and it was just that thing that stood me out.
Yeah,
And all of a sudden, like I as a sober guy became a regular at this pub, the Globe here in Chicago. And
yeah.
it stuck that way for many years. And they would go out of their way to get the Hull game. They would put a screen on for me alone.
How cool is
Yeah.
that?
It
That's what
was yeah,
happens.
it
That's what
is.
happens when you stand alone. When
Yeah.
you are like living you, that's what happens. People
Yeah.
start pouring in stuff. It's cool. We
It
like
is
that.
very cool. Yeah. So you got a number for me before we get off too off the rails here.
I'll wait on. I've got a number, and today's number is for Brad. It's number 9.
Number 9. And I'm giving you the Ron Hogan um the Ron Hogan translation. Okay, here you go, Brett. If you drink too much, you get drunk. The engine won't start if you're always tinkering with it. If you hoard wealth, you fall into its clutches. If you crave success, you succumb to failure. Do
Yeah.
what you have to do, then walk away. Anything else will drive you nuts.
Oh my gosh, you couldn't have picked a better number for him.
I didn't pick it.
No, he picked it this morning. He's wandered off with
Oh,
the Hoover. He's wandered off with the Hoover, so he didn't even hear his number. But
yeah.
can you do me a grand favour? Will you send me that number so I can?
Yes, I'll send it to you on WhatsApp.
That is wonderful
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
yeah, he will love that because that is speaking volumes to him at the moment.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, let's you and I kind of just kind of tinker and look at this a little bit.
Yeah,
If you drink too much, you get drunk.
yeah,
Like that's this like I like this translation. I'm beginning to like this translation quite a bit because it is so simple. Like
mm,
there's not much to say about that. If you drink too much, you get drunk. What does that mean in your life? Like yes, okay, if you drink too much, you get drunk, but like can we take that to a bigger picture? Can we take that to a bigger platform?
yeah.
We were
Too
we were
much of
talking.
anything, too much of anything will saturate you. That's what I would say.
We were also talking about the football a little bit ago, and like what if you didn't watch the football to get engrossed in the football? What if
Yeah,
you watched it to be with yourself? Right?
yeah,
So if you drink too much of the distraction, then you get drunk and you lose yourself. You're now
y-
under the influence of the distraction. You're not there with yourself. When you can, like I said earlier, this idea of like, well, what else are you doing? Be with yourself. Like now,
y-
all of a sudden, that you can be with yourself, you can be in the space where you don't get drunk. You don't allow yourself to drink that emotional roller coaster so much that you get drunk.
yeah. Absolutely, absolutely.
The
You,
engine won't start. Oh, what? Go on.
no, no. I was just saying it's really, really good place to practice being. In yourself. That's a good practice, no matter where you are. I think Dr. Rao's spoken about that before. He said that you can meditate anywhere.
Yeah,
You
I
can
mean,
meditate anywhere, and you really can. It doesn't matter what's going on around you. You can still choose to be with yourself. So that is, yeah. Don't get drunk on experience. Just be with
Right.
yourself.
Always be there. And the engine won't start if you're always tinkering with it. And that, like, even and that's one of the things about, self practice and stuff also, that it's like, it's not about changing you. It's not about tinkering with you, saying this is right, this is wrong, this is how all of these
Yeah.
things, but it's about just being here. So you don't have to
Yeah.
tinker. You could just observe. Don't drink too much of the outside. Don't tinker too much with the engine, the inside. Just kind of observe yourself going about.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not an end goal to tinkering with the engine,
Right.
you know?
And if there is, that's not it,
Exactly.
right? If you hoard wealth, you fall into its clutches. If you crave success, you succumb to failure.
Yeah.
Hoarding. Think about hoarding, and like, are you a hoarder?
Well, no, I'm not a hoarder, but good golly, when I'm looking at the stuff that I've got, the stuff that we've got that we keep sitting there thinking about
Yeah,
how you're going to remove this stuff. And I
right.
still haven't done it.
Right?
Still
Like,
haven't
that's the
done it.
thing. Like, if you hoard anything, right? If you hoard, you fall into its clutches. Like,
Yes.
even if you're even, like, there was a time where people collected stamps and other stuff like that, and it's like, oh, these are so important, these are so important because there's value here, there's value here. Are you going to be able to extract the value from those, or is it just stealing value from you?
Exactly. Yeah. What is the importance of these things?
I
And
mean, back in the 80s and
to
90s,
be
people
really
collected.
honest with you, there's no importance to them. Why am I
No,
going on about it?
it's all like, it's all garbage, and it's like, if
Yeah.
we can shed it, then we can open up to ourselves much more.
Yeah.
If you crave success, you succumb to failure. That's interesting. I was flipping through the morning talks, and there was one about, like, your value and the number of followers you have on Instagram. And I don't know what that talk was about.
Yeah, I saw that.
My guess is it was
I
about,
saw
hey,
that.
you have value whether you have one follower, and if you have 100,000, like, there is, my guess is that's what it was. I can't, I didn't listen to it, so I don't know. But the idea that, like, if you crave having a lot of followers, well, that doesn't, like, if you crave that, you're going to succumb to failure because it's never going to be enough. And we've talked about that idea of hungry ghosts before. That's a
Yeah.
hungry ghost. Like, there's no number of followers that's going to make it okay for you if you
Yeah.
can't find success in yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Why are you looking in the other bins?
Right.
Why
Absolutely.
are you,
Absolutely.
yeah, why are you looking in the other bins? There's nothing there, in your own bin, in your own self. There should be enough in your own self. It's
That's
not
right.
about,
Yeah.
it's not about that. Yeah, I agree. That's a wasted energy, isn't it?
Hmm.
That's a wasted energy. That's an issue that you create for yourself that you can get wrapped up and drunk in. That's
That's right.
absolutely it.
That's right. You drink too much, you get drunk. And that,
Yeah.
like, too much success, too much wealth, too much tinkering. Do what you have to do, then walk away. Anything else will
Just,
drive you nuts.
yeah. Just follow your journey. Just follow your journey. It's there. You don't know what's going to go on in that journey, and you probably wouldn't want to either because you wouldn't do it.
That's right.
You wouldn't do
You
this. I
couldn't.
wouldn't. I know there's going to be some real crap out there for me, but
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just
yeah.
open to the experience of it. So yeah,
Yeah. And that's number 9.
I
I
like
sent
number
it
9.
over. I sent it over to you on WhatsApp, and
Yeah, I've
so
got it.
you can sit down with Brad and talk to him about how he can go about his day.
Yeah, as long as he sits
That's nice.
still. But at the minute,
Well,
he's just sorting out the hoarding. But thank you
Well, I'm
so much.
sure. Yes, absolutely.
I'm very
It's
glad to
always.
hear you're all right. I'm glad that you're getting through this experience that you're having.
Yeah,
Amnesia.
it was a big one, but
Yes.
I'm glad I'm on the mend. I'm glad it's making its way out, and I'm hoping I learned my lesson, so I don't
Do
have to
it again.
experience this again.
That was my little thing is, oh yeah, I had toothache, it's really bad, and I had blood poisoning, I was ill, and the reason I said that to you is because A, I felt your pain, I could,
Yeah,
and B, learn by my stupid mistake for leaving it too long, you know.
yeah. No,
But yeah,
I had a friend of mine that had to have like heart surgery because of it. So
there you are. So
okay, Jose and Christina are on. Christina was on just a slight bit before Jose, so I'm gonna bring her on, and we're gonna talk. And then Jose, if you can hang out, would love to chat with you. Christina, how are you
Hey,
doing, love?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing well, very
That
much on the mend. So
that's what I want to hear. That's
yeah,
perfect. So, listen, I have two numbers. I know we can't pick two, but I want to because I
well,
follow
I
my
mean,
age.
maybe we can. I mean,
I
we
I
have 15 minutes, so
yeah, I don't know. So the first one when it prompted me, I'm like, "Oh, I got to talk to Martin."
Mhm.
73. And then when I'm listening to you talk, all I hear is 67, 67, 67. So I'm like, "Okay, Martin, do you want to pick which one?"
73 or 67.
Mhm.
Um, it's, like you said 67 multiple times just
Yeah.
now talking to me.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna lean on that.
All right, let's do it. It was a
Yeah,
hit. As soon as I
yeah.
heard your voice, that's what came up. So I
Oh,
was like,
my
oh,
voice.
your
And
voice. Okay,
and
sorry.
I'm no, no, don't be sorry. I want people to hear
Mm-hmm.
my voice and get moved to do things.
I almost spit out my coffee. Okay, keep going.
Some say that my teaching is nonsense. Others call it lofty but impractical. But those who have looked inside themselves,
Oh,
this nonsense makes perfect sense. And to those who put it into practice, this loftiness has roots that go deep.
okay.
I have just three things to teach: simplicity, patience, compassion. These three are your greatest treasures. Simple in action and in thoughts, you return to the source of being. Patient with both friends and enemies, you accord with the way things are. Compassionate towards yourself, you reconcile all beings in the world.
Oh my God. Okay. I love you, Martin. I
I
just
love
want to.
you.
I want to put that out there. This
Like, I want to just pause.
Mhm.
There is so much love between
I
like
know.
me and all of you, and like like I don't like the we have some deep connections here.
Oh, I know. I know.
That are and we don't talk a lot or anything, but when like my heart is so open and I can
Mhm.
feel so many open hearts and
Mhm.
people that are here being compassionate towards themselves and are able to reconcile all beings. And when I step up, because I'm compassionate, because you're compassionate,
Mhm.
and we are doing that for ourselves, we're not doing that for others, we
Mhm.
reconcile the other. And that is such a beautiful space to exist.
It's yeah, and it's funny like the way that I say it is like as we heal, others heal, right? Because we're only working on ourselves. At the end of the day, that's all it is. But if you're an open heart, then you're going to bring in other open hearts or
Yeah.
people that need maybe that are looking for support. I don't know, but like,
Well, yeah, you it's contagious. You open your
mhm,
heart and others open theirs. And
mhm,
it's not easy for them. I've had people lash out at me and then
mm,
come back and their heart is wide open. And it's
oh,
like that lashing out is fear, and that lashing out is
mhm,
necessary for them to actually open. Sometimes the door is stuck and you got to put a lot of energy towards slamming it open, but once it's open, you can work it through.
mm,
When those hinges are rusted, they don't want to move.
mm.
And it takes a lot of force.
Well, and I think the card, it's so funny because I think it actually relates to both of us. Because I heard your voice and it just kept going. And it's about our teachings, that what we do is really about, it's a little unconventional in comparison. At least what I'm doing right now, I'm trying to bring all this stuff into corporate, and it is, question, whoa, like, whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah.
But when you simplify the process and you're in a place of truth and you're just in alignment to your heart space, it's all going to work out.
Yeah. That's right. And it's going to work out. It's going to work out. Not necessarily always in the way that you initially imagined,
The way
but
it was meant, right?
right,
And
right.
I
It's
think,
it's going to work out. Like
yeah,
without judgment of how that has to happen.
yeah, I so appreciate you. I think that, um, because I know for myself, it's a different way of practice, right? So I'm really trying to encourage, and I didn't know that I was on this path until I started to do my own personal journey, but it's really trying to encourage that self management, that self leadership, that really, how do I show up? How am I
Mhm.
tapped into myself? And people, like you said, people are either going to take to it or they might really push back at first because it's a hard place to look at, um, and they can get triggered very easily around these topics.
Yeah, and I mean that's why all of my work revolves around that concept of recovering yourself, because
Mm-hmm.
you have been under the influence, because I'm so the language I use revolves around addiction and recovery and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like you've been under the influence of your parents, the economic system, like the way things are. You've been under the influence of all these things, and like when can we put all of that aside
Mm-hmm.
and be compassionate, right? And that's what this says, right? Be patient towards friends and enemies, and you accord to the way things are. Be
Mm-hmm.
compassionate towards yourself, and you reconcile all beings in the world. You yourself can do that, and it's
Mm-hmm.
not like you can reconcile Putin right now by
Mm-hmm.
being compassionate towards yourself.
The collective, right? It
You
impacts
do
the.
it all, right? Because it is
Mm-hmm.
coming from you, like
Mm-hmm.
because you are everything.
Mm.
Like and this experience that you're having
Yes.
is one of billions and trillions of experiences, and that when that one can vibrate higher,
Yes.
then others will not, like, that vibration isn't always sensed with the senses that we understand. They're
Mm-hmm.
sensed with
Agreed.
that and when they're sensed deep and someone hears that deep
Mm-hmm.
vibration, they will inevitably, unexplicably step in that direction.
And I think that, yeah, I totally agree. And as you start to go on this journey of self discovery and owning your stories and loving yourself, your vibration goes higher, right? Like you said, to senses that we don't even know.
Hmm.
And that is such a simple concept, right? Just look within, own your stories, and embrace all of it, right? Not just cut out the parts that are ugly, that you're not really happy with. Like, embrace it, appreciate it, accept it, and then this magic happens that is like un- undescribable. Like, for me right now, in all honesty, I really feel as though something has happened, where I have tapped into something so amazing that I want to scream it off of every mountaintop. Because I'm like, this is incredible. Because when you learn how to transform your pain into something beautiful, into your energy, then anything's possible. It's not a framework that you're looking for. It's actually an inner explore.
Right, right. And that's that's everything that I've been, that's all of this, like, yeah, that is,
Well,
like, I like to call those who have come out of addiction and recovery the lucky ones, because we get to
mm,
see that, you know when everybody hates you,
yes, it's great. Good point. Yeah.
when everybody hates you and what you've done,
Mm-hmm.
it's real easy, it's a lot easier to remember where it comes from. When you are only kind of disliked, and you have lived under the influence of that dislike and
Mm-hmm.
changed yourself. You don't, there's not enough, there's not enough to transform yourself into who you are.
You haven't hit rock bottom. And
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't like utilizing rock bottom, but yes, I mean
okay,
that is a only because I'm coming out of addiction, and I don't
okay,
necessarily think you have to hit rock bottom to do that,
okay.
to achieve that. But I do understand what you're saying, and I only say that and I only it's kind of obligatory for me to say that. So
Yes.
I do want you to utilize that phrase, of course,
Yeah.
because of where you are, but because I am not coming from that, I have to just kind of use that as a
Understood.
caveat. Okay.
Understood. I think but I would think, and this is the conversation, Martin. This is why I think this came up, right? There's a lot of things, but what you said, when someone's coming out of addiction, it's easier to do the rebuild because you kind of have to at this point. You really can see the damage. But
Hmm.
those that are living our everyday life really should be doing this exercise on a
They have
regular
to.
basis
They have
and
to.
not move to that direction and understand that it's present right now,
That's
that
right.
you're holding on to self-limiting beliefs. Where are they coming from? Don't wait for, this channel. Like, you can actually start doing the work now.
Hmm. I wanna continue going through this.
Oh,
Because
sorry,
we've
sorry,
missed
sorry.
it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
let's see. No, no, no. I mean, some say my teaching is nonsense. Others call it lofty but impractical.
Mm-hmm.
But those who have looked inside themselves, and that's why I talk about people with addiction, because without looking inside yourself, everything is external. This nonsense makes perfect sense, just like you're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
like this idea, like it's there always. It
Mm-hmm.
makes perfect sense. And to those who put it into practice, this lostiness has roots that go deep. How long does it take to actually put into practice? And it's super simple. Everything that you're talking about, everything that I'm talking about, like it's like simple, simple, simple. And everybody has always complicated things and made little memes and made little
Mm-hmm.
things, and they've taken people off the course.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think that the other part too about what you just read is that I think pre-COVID, people wouldn't even look at this stuff, like
No.
especially the stuff I'm talking about. Post-COVID, or where we're at right now, people are looking for guidance and really starting to go inwards differently. So I think it's opening up a new space to simplify. What do you think? How do you feel? Where are these coming from? Like, your thought process. So I find it fascinating, right? Because it's not lofty anymore. People are listening. That's my point.
Right. Yeah. No, I think they're finally at a place where they're going to take it into consideration.
Mm-hmm.
Where before they would be like, "Oh, that's just woo woo, I'm not listening."
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. Yes.
Yeah. And
Right?
so because they're taking it in, that
Mm-hmm.
means, and there is a Tao that states, the Tao can enter where there is no space. And that's
Mm.
what this is, right? Like there is no space for these new ideas in the old paradigm, in the old way of thinking, and in the old kind of frontal lobe sort of thing. And then all of a sudden we get into the great resignation, and we've created space.
Yes.
We've
Yes.
created space. Now that there is space, it's kind of like when you get rid of all of the clothes that you don't want to wear,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yes.
have space. And that's the
Yes.
thing. When you get rid of the job that you don't want to have, there is space. There is
Mm-hmm.
all, and it enters where there is no space, because of course, it had to inspire you to create space. And so it entered, inspired, and now there's space and people are open to it.
And it's so funny. What popped in my head too is like it also goes with people, right? Outgrowing people as well on this journey,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
there's
There's only
like,
so much room in your life for like, you might have 100 friends, but like really, like they've done studies, and you can only have so many.
yeah, like really, who are the
Yeah.
real ones? Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Like, and like the old ideas of fame are still holding on, and the
Mm-hmm.
old ideas of like what does it mean to be successful are still holding on, and
Mm.
money, and it's all a measuring stick,
Mm.
you know. I
Well,
have
yeah.
just gone
No, no, just based on whose standard. Who set the
right.
standard?
Yeah, who sets the standard? And
Right.
what is it and what are you doing? And are you being yourself? Because if
Yeah.
you're being yourself, there's no need to measure
Yes. Beautiful. Yeah. That's gold, guys, right there.
that.
Right? Absolutely. And I think that that is, people are fearful of that redirect, but you don't need to fear it because you can be everything that you want to be. Stop
Yeah,
putting yourself in this, I don't know, this system or this structure that's telling you what you need to be.
yeah. Three things to teach: simplicity, patience, and compassion. And
Okay.
with those three things, like, simple in thoughts, patient with both friends and enemies, and compassionate towards yourself.
Well, I appreciate you so much. And I'm so happy I got on your stage, and I am going to reflect on all this stuff because it's on point, right? And if you're living your truth and doing what you are meant to do, then it's all going to fall into place. You don't need to worry about anything else.
And I needed that this morning because, like, after being kind of under the cush with my tooth pain for a while, I was feeling a
Mm.
little lost.
Well, don't, because you are doing great.
Thank you so much. Okay, Jenny, you're new to my stage, but I can't bring you on because Jose was in front of you. I hope you can stick around because I love your hearts and I'd love to see those on my screen. Jose, how you doing, brother?
Good morning, brother. How you doing?
I am well.
I'm doing fantastic over here, man.
I am glad. I am glad. It's nice to have you back, man. It's been a minute. It's been a
You know,
minute.
I was going through some tough things, and
Yeah,
I couldn't.
we all go through some tough times. Like I was telling Christina a bit ago, like there's that, like I was dealing with tooth pain this week, and I really felt like, what the fuck am I doing? Like I'm not making any money. I'm not doing anything. Like I'm like, what, like, and I know my work is good, but it just gets to you. And
But
there's
you're
those
making a
times.
difference.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And now that I'm feeling better, and now that I'm here on, like I'm getting my dopamine hit, right? Having people tell me I'm fucking special, right? like, like all of that it helps, but really, it has to come from within. And even though we can feel like put off at times or whatnot, like it is important to be able to climb out of that and to understand where that's coming from and to grow through that and to know why I'm doing that. And so dark times, man, they're important. They're an important part of our development. So I'm grateful for the dark times that you have been through because they are going to, as Christina and I were talking about, make you just a better you.
Of course, yeah.
And
I
that's
mean,
gonna make everything better for the rest of us.
it has been. Actually, I had to walk away. I was married, but I had to walk away from a relationship because I'm
All right.
disabled, and she was very verbally and physically and mentally abusive to me. So I had to
Hmm.
step away because I
Yeah,
had to love
absolutely.
I had to start loving myself and stop.
But yeah, and that doesn't mean you don't love her. It just means
Exactly,
you love yourself to a point where you have to keep yourself safe.
exactly.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's it. And there's
that's it.
nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. And you know what? And you can love your child, and you can love all of that stuff equally. And it does not mean that you have. It doesn't. That does not dictate where you have to sleep at night.
Correct, man.
So
And right now I'm at peace, and I'm
that's
actually with my family and my parents because they
yeah,
need a lot of help right now.
yeah, yeah. You and me both. So give me a number, man. 1 and 81.
18.
18. When the great Tao is forgotten, goodness and piety appear. When the body's intelligence declines, cleverness and knowledge step forth. When there is no peace in the family, filial piety begins. When the country falls into chaos, patriotism is born. So,
Wow, that's strong.
yeah, it's a short one, but there's a lot here, especially as you're talking about family, especially as you're talking about stepping away. Because the thing is your stepping away was your following, like, presumably your stepping away was following the Tao. Because although it doesn't make sense on the outside, because you made commitments and you have a child and you have all of these things going on around you, what is best for you, what is best for the Tao, is that you step away. So when we can say, when the great Tao is forgotten, goodness and piety appear. If you were to have forgotten the Tao, and did not do what's best for you, you would have been a husband or a partner that would be good and pious, meaning that you would honor the relationship over yourself. And it would look like you're honoring the relationship. You would be like, oh, look, you're a good husband. You do this, you do that, you are present. But this is what you lean on when the Tao is forgotten. When the Tao is not forgotten, you get to live in accordance with things. And that means you can walk away or you can stay, and you ebb and you flow. And there's nothing that is holding you to any one answer. When the great Tao is just being. It is not about looking a certain way. It is not about actually, like we like goodness, right? We're like, oh, you're going to be good. You're going to be a good boy and you're going to do these things. And when we know what good looks like, we can go ahead and execute those things, like stay in a relationship that's hurting us because you're good. But that's when the great Tao has been forgotten, because the great Tao means you don't have to, it doesn't have to look good to be good.
Correct.
Sometimes it looks like shit, but it's
The-
still for the best.
yeah. And I admire you so much, man, Martin. You're one of the people I love to listen to on wisdom.
Well,
There's so
thank
many bright and wise people on wisdom, and you're one of them.
well, I'll agree with that.
Yeah, and I appreciate everything you're doing for everybody.
That's
You're,
nice.
you're making a difference for real.
I appreciate that. So this piece continues to go on, and like we want to be able to look at this where it's like, if your leaving your relationship was the great Tao, I'm sure there was a time where you decided before you left that you would be good, that you
Yes,
would you would look good. It would be good. Like you would be nice and it would be good. Well, when the body's intelligence declines, and the body's intelligence is your intuition, is your conversation with yourself, right? Cleverness and knowledge step forth. Right? When you're like, okay, well, this relationship isn't going well and I don't know how to deal with it because the Tao is lost, so I'm not following that, and I can't trust my intuition because my intuition is telling me to leave. We move towards knowledge and cleverness. My guess is that is something akin to counseling, right? Where it's like,
yeah.
this isn't working.
And I
This isn't,
acknowledged it.
yeah, it's not working.
Okay.
It's not doing what it needs to do for you. And so then you turn towards professionals, knowledge, you turn towards other people, cleverness, you turn towards all of those things that are going to tell you what's going wrong, even though you know deep inside without explanation what needs to happen, because that's the great Tao, but it is forgotten. So you move on, you lean on goodness, and then you lose that and you lean on cleverness and knowledge, and you say, okay, let's go to counseling and let's try and fix this, and that still doesn't work.
Exactly. And you know what? I had tried that, but she never wanted to accept it. And she never wanted to even try counseling. So, I mean, there was
And
no.
then and that brings us into the next line. When
Yep,
there is no peace in the family, filial piety begins. Filial piety is family piety. It is um leaning on family and saying, okay, you are, there is a hierarchy in the family, and so you give that hierarchy um, privilege over yourself.
correct. Very correct. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, and so when there's no peace, filial piety begins, and then when the family falls into chaos, patriotism is born, meaning that even though this is what we would call Stockholm syndrome,
Hmm.
even though you're being oppressed by a system, you stand by that system because That's all you can do. And then that is a shell of who you are. And so coming back from that, right, is like when you're this shell, you have to debunk the filial piety. You have to debunk the family. You have to allow the family to not be forced to stay together through cleverness and knowledge, so that you can have your intuition again, so that you can move towards being nice, but ultimately getting out, so that you can remember that.
Yeah, I mean, that makes so much sense to me because ah, no matter how hard I tried, it was never good enough. And that's what was, you know, hurting me a lot because not only was it the abuse, but it was how hard I was trying that was never enough.
And I would definitely look in, Christina and I talk about this a lot, where it's like, where in your life are you not enough for you? Because it's not your ex. Your ex is just showing you a part of yourself. And so if you were to sit quietly and meditate on, like, where am I not enough for me? Because that's what you keep seeing. You see, I'm not enough. You're saying that I'm not enough. You're saying that I'm not enough. Well, you can't see that you're not enough if you, Jose, are not saying that you're not enough somewhere. And if you
Well,
can
I
just
knew,
stop and look, go on.
I knew that I was enough, but for her, it was never enough.
Well, we want to take a pause on that. That very well could be an
That's a whole
assumption.
different topic.
Yeah. I'm only saying, like, yes, we all want to believe that we're enough and believe that we know we're enough. But look in your heart and ask that question. Step 4 of AA, of the 12-step program, is really at the core of so much of what I do, and that's like taking a fearless inventory. And what I mean by fearless inventory is, like, you're going to find that you're an asshole somewhere in there.
Oh
You're going
yeah.
to find that you're not a nice person. You're going to find that you don't believe in yourself quite as much as you think you do. You're going to find all of those things, and that's okay. When you can take a fearless inventory, you can start getting honest with yourself, because your ex doesn't matter. You do. And this is the work that you do so that you can matter. And when we look out at the world, if there's anything that we don't like, that means that there is something within us we don't like. And when you can look at yourself, when you can look outside and say, what I do is not good enough for them, that's when we look in and we say, how does that story relate back to me? Where in my life can I say that about myself? Where in my life can I say I'm not enough for me? And when we ask that question, the answer might not come very clearly, might not come very quickly. But if we're persistent in asking it, an answer will come up that'll often surprise us and make us cry and make us really step into the space of being who we are. Anytime I hear people, especially people who want to grow like yourself, like, I don't feel fear in kind of just pointing out that, like, it's not about your ex. Yes, she is a manifestation of something, but to grow beyond that, it's going to be to grow within yourself. And that is remembering the great Tao, and that you are great, and there's something that holds us. Like, if you thought of yourself the way that you actually are, you would be able to just ascend into heaven right now. And because that's not possible, there's more growth to be had. And I know that. And so
Absolutely.
we don't want to dismiss the fact that we might not be seeing something.
Yeah.
And you have space and time to be critical of yourself. Not judgmental, but just look, curious. Where might this be? If there was a place, I say pretend there is something that you don't like about yourself. Pretend there is something that you don't think you're good enough at or that's good enough for you. What would that be? And just explore that. It's kind of like a pretend game. And my guess is you're going to touch your heart really, really strongly by just playing a little game.
You're right. And I have been, reflecting on that and trying to figure out exactly, but I know the reason why, and I know it's because I have a different purpose.
That's right. And stepping into that with grace is going to get you there a whole lot faster than stepping into it with resistance or force.
Awesome, man. Thank you for having me, Martin.
Absolutely. Anytime, Jose. Love you so much.
I love you too, bro. Have a good day, man. An amazing
You
day.
too. I will. All right. I do have two guests waiting, and I'm bringing Jenny on. Jenny. I don't know you, I don't believe, but I am glad to have you up.
Nice to meet you, Martin. How are you?
I am doing very well. How are you this morning or afternoon? I
Amazing.
don't. You sound like
It,
you're American.
I'm Canadian. I'm
Ah,
just,
Canadian. I
yeah,
didn't.
I'm not far from
Oh, okay.
Christina. Yeah, so I tune in. I'm so happy to be up here with you because I tune in every morning that I can. And
Oh
I
my
tuned in
God.
this morning on time to hear the wise Christina. So I'm super happy to be up here with you.
Well, thank you for thanks for the support and the listening, and I hope I mean you're listening, so I'm assuming that you enjoy what you're hearing.
Very much. Thank you.
Okay, good. I hope it's continuing to contribute to your life, and now you get to have direct access to the Tao and me, and this is all so fun. I love having new people on. Love your hearts also, and would love for you to pick a number between 1 and 81. And you're familiar with what we do, so I don't have
Yes.
to explain it. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Wonderful. So pick a number between 1 and 81.
24.
24. He who stands on tiptoe doesn't stand firm. He who rushes ahead doesn't go far. He who tries to shine dims his own light. He who defines himself cannot know who he really is. He who has power over others can't empower himself. He who clings to the world will create nothing that endures. If you want to accord to the Tao, just do your job and let it go. Thoughts?
Wow. Okay, so first thought that came to mind is I made the decision to forever grow. 10 years ago, I would say I started on this beautiful journey. And the big thing for me was to not dim my light. And at first, it was a trying not to dim my light, and it was forced, and there was resistance there. But as soon
Yeah.
as I tapped in and tuned into my inner being, my inner love, my inner light, it was really easy. It
Yeah.
became there was flow, and there was grace, and it became easy. So that's the first thought that came up, and it's a nice little reminder that when things are forced, the outcome isn't usually what it's what it's not usually it's forced. When I just am when I am true to myself, I share my voice like I'm doing right now, and I'm just me because I'm
Yeah.
enough and I'm just me. It becomes
Oh,
quite simple, like you and Christina were talking about. It
yeah.
is the concept is so simple, but it's the us getting in our own ways that makes it a little more difficult.
Yeah, so we're gonna go through this line by line in a bit, but I always want to like look at the last line and see, well, how does this relate all back? Because sometimes it could seem disparate, or sometimes it can seem separate. Like, like here's a thing, and then it ends in this other thing, and it's like, yes, they're all connected, but we don't actually connect them consciously, right? Like we don't make that effort. But I want to look at this last line, which says, if you want to accord with the Tao, just do your job, then let go. And this is what, when you were talking, like, you wanted to not dim your light, and so you tried. You tried to not dim your light, right? Like there was that action until you realized that actually not dimming your light is not trying at all. It's just being. You just do
Yes.
your job and let go. It's actually not doing that doesn't dim your light, right? Like he who tries to shine dims his own light. By you even trying to not dim your light is you trying to shine. And it's like you shine. There's nothing you can do to not shine, but try to shine. Try to understand your shine. Your shine cannot be understood because it is bigger than you. You know, the first line of the Tao is something to the effect of, depending on the translation, if you can explain the Tao, that's not it. Right?
Because
And
it
this
just
is
is.
right. And if you try to explain the Tao, all you're doing is reducing it to what you can understand. And if you try to shine, you're reducing yourself to what you can understand and what shine means to you. And so when you try to not dim your light, or when you try to let yourself shine, well, that trying is the thing that is getting in your way. Because it is reduced to understanding what that means. Maybe you shine the most when appearing to be dull at the moment or dim. And when we can be with the Tao, it is all shine because there's nothing else that it could be. So as we go through this line by line, does that make sense? Are you with me?
It makes complete sense.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'll let you go through another line because it is all connected. I'm happy. I reverse engineer everything. So I'm happy you started with the last line because,
Yeah,
yes,
and
it
we're
makes
going to bring this
complete
last
sense.
line into every line. So this idea of just do your job, then let go. Okay, we're going to take that with us to the first line, which is, he who stands on tiptoe doesn't stand firm. How does that ring to you?
I've been doing a lot of grounding work, and on tiptoe it reminds me of what I've done many times in my life, and it's eager and it's tiptoe and you're ready to pounce and you're tiptoe. But when you're grounded and it's more of from an observing spot and a grounded spot and a just is like I am grounded right where my 2 feet lie right now.
That's
I
right.
don't have to be on tiptoes. I don't have to wait and look and like do. I can just be.
You know, I love when you see people in like a really long line and then they tiptoe to see where the front of the line is. That's kind of what I see in this line. Like when you stand on tiptoes, how far do I gotta go? How far? Where's the end? Where's the destination? What am I doing? And it's like you're not here. You're not here right now. Be here, because this is where you are.
Beautiful.
And just do your job, then let go. Right? Like bringing that back into this, or making sure that we're kind of keeping that in mind. Do your job and let go. Hey, just be here. You don't have to worry about the destination. You are right here. Yes, you might be building a house, but right now you're nailing the frame together. Once you've nailed the frame together, then you got to raise it. You don't have to worry about the destination. Just do your job and don't worry about all of the other things, because your job is being done in accordance to and in conjunction with everybody else. Jenny, you and I are both on the job right now, doing our job, not trying to do the others.
I
He
love
who
it.
he who rushes ahead doesn't go far. You know, there's another translation, and I like the line that was translated, and it's really simple. It's like, learn how to pace yourself if you want to get anywhere. Like the same sort of idea. Like, do your job. Learn how to pace yourself in your job. so that you can go somewhere. You're not going to go far if you're just rushing. It's all going to collapse under you. Sometimes I just pause to see if you have anything to add. Nothing. Okay. Moving on to the next. Once again, I'm trying to bring all of this last line to each of the lines. Just like do your job and let go. Um, he who shines, he who tries to shine dims his own light. Once again, we've talked about that.
And
Go on.
yeah, and not looking and rigidly attached to a certain outcome, whether it's climbing the ladder at work, whether it's whatever the situation is that when I allow and just observe and be with that pure intention, allow it to be whatever. And I've been, as I'm practicing, pleasantly surprised that the outcome is even more powerful and even more beautiful.
Every time. Once again, we were talking not long ago just about that idea of like it can't be expressed, right? If it's real, then you can't explain it. And if you try to explain it, especially before it exists, then you are keeping it in a box so that you can control it. But if you can let go of trying to control, then you just do your job and let go. That's it. It's like no need to control it, no need to hold on to it. He who defines himself can't know who he really is. I think that's a lot about what we were expressing. This idea that if you define yourself, you can only know that which you can define. You can't know the true essence of who you are.
That one's a hard one, a lesson that I've learned, and most of that defining myself was validating and explaining myself and defending, but be for others, like for
Hmm.
external validation.
Yeah. Hmm.
And when I am practicing in my meditation every morning, it's an inside job. Like it's all inward, and
Yeah.
I am I kind of picture a wave, and through my thoughts and my emotions and who I am, it is non. It there's it, I'm not one thing. I'm everything.
That you
And
are
it,
everything.
yeah,
You
and
are
that
everything.
tapping in and tuning in again, there is so much more calm in my life experiences with external people, places, things, because I go inward, and it's not. I finally know my truth, and my truth can change tomorrow and the next moment and then the next day, and then it's a forever. It's just allowing my love. I lead with love, and I do uh, the best that I can in the moment, and again, and then I'll fall, but then I'll come back, and that's going inward, and it's all from within.
Yeah.
And it's become, yeah, and it's made me a better leader. As a title doesn't make you a leader. It's a it's at work, it's with being a mother, it's being a friend, it's being a daughter. But if I can't lead my emotions, and I can't lead my thoughts, and I can't lead my love for myself, then I'm not leading anything.
That brings us beautifully into the next line. He who has power over others can't empower himself.
And as I lean in and tune in to myself as a leader, because I own a business, I have employees.
Hmm.
I my vault now that I have softened, and I stand firm on the ground, and I do all the things in this Tao. I That vulnerability component that just makes us all human. It has allowed me to become closer with my employees,
Hmm.
with my husband, everybody, because I am leading by example of, okay, this is the there's no power there. I have no
You
power. I
don't
am
you
not.
don't have any power. That's the thing. Like
No,
this
I
line
have no
says, he
power.
who has power over others can't empower himself. You maybe at one time wanted power over them because you were the boss, but now you've yielded and you're like, no, you are going to do what you do, and I am going to just express myself.
fully, unapologetically.
Right.
Yes,
Absolutely. And everything works out so much clearer.
absolutely.
He who clings to his work will create nothing that endures. And as you're speaking, I can't help but think about it. Like by you letting go, by you letting it be, by you just allowing this to be, is allowing this work to endure and flourish because you are just doing your job and letting go.
All I have to do is do my job and let go. I love this. I'm so happy I jumped up. I love it. It's tying all the work that I've been doing and will continue to do for my growth.
Oh, I'm so glad that you came up. It's so nice to meet you. I'm so glad that that we got a chance to talk. And once again, thank you for following me and the DAO and all of that, and being a participant and having so much to share.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a beautiful day.
You as well. Thank you. All right, we're gonna swap out for Will, and then I have like I think three other people in line. I saw Cicely, Graciela, and Lois. Lois is next in line. So if you guys can, Will, give me one moment. If you guys can stick around, great. If not, I know where you are in line, and so if you need to step away and come back, I will make sure that you get in. Will, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you, John?
I am doing very well. I'm doing very well. My tooth pain is subsiding, and I am feeling so much better. Glad to be going into the weekend without facing it in pain. So
I'm happy to hear that. I was,
yeah,
I was concerned that you weren't feeling well, whatever, and so I'm glad you're feeling better. That's what's most important.
yes,
Is
yes.
one's health is most important. So
I'm telling you, man, I have never had a toothache before, and thanks to Lois and the Energy Lady and everybody on here with all the home remedies and stuff, I am through the woods. So we are ready to take on the weekend. So, Will, you got a number for me?
I do. So I'm gonna before I give that answer, I'm just gonna say that I'm not. I'm curious to know what the DAO is about. I know you said before that the
Oh yeah.
DAO is beyond the whatever, but the point is, I'll give you the number, which is 23.
Hmm.
But the more I can learn about the DAO is also appreciated. So if we can throw it in there while we're going through
Yeah,
this, that'd be cool.
absolutely. Well, the Tao was written in 600 BCE. The story is it was written by Lao Tzu, who was an accountant in a Chinese proverb territory, and he wanted to leave the town. He wanted to leave the town because he saw the destruction of. He saw the future. He was able to look around and say, "Oh my God! Like we are missing the essence of things, of the way things are." And the king, as he was leaving, the king said, "Man, like you're one of our smartest people. I would really love for you to write down some guiding lines for us." Now, 600 BCE was around the same time that the Old Testament was written, according to scholars. And so these are considered ancient texts. And, the interesting thing about the Tao and Confucius and other Asian texts like this, and this is a philosophical text, so I translate it to the canon of reason, meaning this is the quintessential doctrine on how to live a reasonable life. And that's kind of how I translate. The light, the way is another way of talking about it, but it is the way of living a reasonable life as I understand it. And so it's really a text that is not religious, although Taoism is a religion. It's also a philosophical. It's a philosophical approach that utilizes the feminine and praises the feminine and praises the feminine as the high mark of achievement, whereas the Old Testament kind of embraces the masculine, the structural. This and Confucius writings and other things in the Asian traditions often lean on the feminine. And when we talk about the feminine, we look at the void, and then you create a structure. You create the edge of the universe. The edge of the universe is the masculine, within which everything can exist. but it needs the feminine to be able to have anything anywhere first. And so the foundation of all things is the feminine, and that's kind of where the Tao steps and how the Tao is structured.
Cool. Interesting. We'll have a conversation at a different time in terms of the masculine aspects of the Old Testament, but that's not for now. So
Yeah, yeah,
the
absolutely,
number is
absolutely.
23, and
Yep,
I'm
23.
curious to see what journey this takes me on, even though I don't usually believe in this kind of stuff. So let's see
Okay,
what
well, there's
happens.
nothing really to believe in. It's just
Well,
a text. So,
okay, you know what I mean.
yep. Express yourself completely, then keep quiet. Be like the forces of nature. When it blows, there is only wind. When it rains, there is only rain. When the clouds pass, the sun shines through. If you open yourself to the Tao, you are at one with the Tao, and you can embody it completely. If you open yourself to insight, you are at one with insight, and you can use it completely. If you open yourself to loss, you are at one with loss, and you can accept it completely. If you open yourself to the Tao, then trust that your natural responses, and everything will fall into place.
It's pretty uncanny how one of the sentences is open yourself to the Tao, and I basically am asking the question about the Tao itself. That's pretty
Yep.
uncanny.
And and as we kind of come to the end, as I read this, I can't help but think about like your support groups.
Yes, or my journey in terms of trying to get more in touch with my emotions because I've not allowed myself to fully feel, to
Yeah.
to compartmentalize, to be able to survive and mental health wise, at the very least, survive what I
Yeah.
see and how everything that I do. Because we've had many conversations offline.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
no,
And when we
uncanny.
start, this whole piece starts express yourself completely, then
I
keep
know
quiet.
it's really uncanny. It's really
Yeah.
uncanny.
And that's the thing, like the Tao has been around for a long, long time. And I believe that it is all, the entire Tao is within each of us in some energetic sense. And so when I ask people for a number, you know, I don't believe in the uncanny. I believe more in this idea. I believe in everything. It's a lot easier to believe in everything than it is to not believe in something. And so, what's that?
I hear that.
Yeah.
So when I say uncanny, it's the border, the territorial border of, everything happens for us, not to us. It's all
Right.
those kinds of
Yeah.
things. And so I do
Yeah.
believe in that. So it's not as if I'm like, I'm
Oh,
a
no, 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 no. Yeah.
non-believer. It's just no. I want to make sure I'm clear. Also,
Absolutely.
I'm not like a non-believer. It's just it's a set of circumstances that could be taken as coincidence plus coincidence plus coincidence, whereas
Right.
too many coincidences in a row begin to make you think, and that's what I'm really getting at when I say uncanny.
Then it moves into this idea of be like the forces of nature. When it blows, there is only wind. When it rains, there is only rain. When the clouds pass, the sun shines through. And that's a there's another translation that I like a little bit better that states the wind and the rain don't last forever. If nature knows enough to give it a rest sometimes, so should you. Right? Like this idea that like, hey, like when it's raining, and then it stops. It's like it's rained. Okay, we're done. We don't have to beat it over a head. We don't have to beat a dead horse here, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, and
Express yourself completely, then keep quiet.
yeah, no, because your translation is a bit different. Your translation would fall in line with what I've been doing, but I've been taking it to the extreme, and that any extreme is no good. So
Right.
interesting, very interesting.
And then it moves to if you open yourself to the Tao, you are at one with the Tao, and you can completely embody it. If you open yourself to insight, you're at one with insight and you can use it completely.
Hmm.
If you open yourself to loss, you're at one with loss and you can accept it completely.
So the irony is, to the point where I've accepted loss and pain and everything completely. But if I haven't allowed myself to feel, or if I've compartmentalized, then the question is a very valid question. Have I truly embraced loss? Have I truly
Right.
embraced X, Y, or Z? because it's easy or it's logical, it's acceptable, so to speak, to say, to what extent is it truly true, you know,
Yeah, absolutely.
which
And like accepting, like opening yourself to loss, opening yourself up to, like, we could utilize the word failure, like if you can open, if you are ready to fail, you can live with failure. And that doesn't mean that you're done. It means you, right now, you had that experience and you can step into it. You've had a loss, but that doesn't mean you can live with that loss. That just means you're okay. Like, it is not affecting how you are going to live your life from this point forward. That
yeah,
loss was just an experience. It does
yeah,
not mean that now you close your heart. Does not mean that you close yourself off to the Tao or insight or
hmm
any of the things that you have access to.
yeah. I would say it a bit differently. I agree with you 100%. I would say that you learn from your mistakes, you learn from your losses. The best learning experience, the best growth, the best sort of fuel isn't success, it actually is failure, because that really isn't really failure, it's just sharpening the tool to get even better and improve and improve. So that's one real way that I view things, in terms of that constant improvement, that constant growth, and not to view it as a negative failure, as a
Right.
downer, as a like beating myself up over it or whatever. No,
That's
it's
right.
there to learn from. It's actually a positive in disguise. You just have to see it. It's almost like, we're walking in a cave and the cave is super dark, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel. You can barely see it because it's faint. If you had more light in the cave, you'd be able to see the entire cave. And that's how I view failure. What failure is, we're in that cave and the cave is super dark. We can't see what's on the walls. We can't see what's all over the ground of the cave. If we had
Right.
some light, we would see it. And the light is knowledge and learning and wisdom to be able to succeed because of the failure.
Yes. And that's the, like, but if you're not open to loss,
That's right.
then you won't see it and
That's
you
right.
will reject it.
That's right.
Yeah. And that's
That's right.
beautiful. That's a wonderful way of looking at it. Open yourself to the Tao, then trust your natural responses. So it's bringing us back to that beginning. Open yourself up to the Tao. Express yourself completely. Open yourself up to be able to express yourself completely, and trust your natural response. Your natural response, not the one that is informed by your emotional fears, not the one that is informed by your trauma, not the one that is informed, like, open yourself up to the natural response. Be separate from this right now.
Yeah.
Understand that your body is not the end all be all,
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
and everything will fall into place.
Yeah. Uncanny, but yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
not uncanny, but whatever.
Now,
Uncanny
I
in
understand. I
the
understand.
other way of the word.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh, Will, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you stepping out with me on the Tao, because like, and I'd be happy to have a conversation. I mean, I don't know much about the Old Testament, but I'd be happy to have a conversation around it.
Not a problem. So for 10 more seconds, like you mentioned in the support group, since I'm here, if I
Yeah,
can, for
please, please, please,
30
please.
seconds, I don't want to overstep or misspeak or whatever. So the support group that you and I are working on is, there's one for women for women, and there's one men for men. And so I'm still looking for about 3 or 4 more experts on the women's side, and for the men's side, I'm still looking for a number of experts, maybe 5 or 6 at this point. Um, and so we're looking for, whether it's MFT family therapists, or whether it's LCSW or LMSWs, whether it's trauma coaches. That's the main key right now. And what this is it's a support group, whether it's men for men or women for women. The men's group is to create a space where men can feel masculine, and then it's masculine to cry, masculine to express feelings, masculine to be a man, but at the same time, um, address and discuss certain things that have been taboo, or certain things that have been quote unquote inappropriate, or socially inappropriate, quote unquote, to allow meant to feel, or to begin to feel at the very least, or have those discussions and have a very safe, supportive, empowering space. And for the women, it's the same idea. The women's group is regarding trauma and support from trauma, any trauma, and we have a bunch of specialists already in place for that. And I'm sort of working on the men's side. Next week, I think I have 4 or 5 meetings with different male experts, um, and I'm trying to sort of have the right balance in terms of representation from all walks of life, because I want it to be as even keel as possible, and as therefore supportive and empowering as possible. That's really what it's all about. It's
Yeah.
empowering, and it also includes networking as well. So it's not just about women supporting women, but the experts are there to provide some support. The experts can provide their expertise off of that platform of the group if needed. And then also we'll be bringing in additional experts. Men for men is one, and women for women is the other. So we'll bring in additional experts, either as needed or permanently, like a permanent residency or whatever the case is. And it's meant to empower. It's meant to provide a 360-degree approach to service and breaking down the barrier of time and of waiting lists too, which is a huge, huge deal right now with all the things going on the lockdowns, not lockdowns, and this, that, a third, or whatever. Because half the world still has issues. Even though America, we're getting better in terms of no masks and no this and no that as mandates. So this is going to be a huge thing. I truly appreciate you agreeing to be a part of the project and this support, this whole movement. I can't thank you enough, John. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for your time, for meeting on the
Absolutely.
stage. It's a
Thank you.
privilege to work with you. It's a privilege to be on the stage. It's a privilege for me to do what I do. So thank you and have a great day. Seriously.
You as well. All right, we're bringing Lois on. Lois, and then Graciela and Energy Lady. And I did promise Energy Lady, I did promise Cicely that if she pops back on, she will have a spot. So just so you know, it might be a little bit, but thank you for being here. And if you have to step away, I will keep you in the in the queue as well. Lois,
Hello,
my
how
love,
you
how are you
doing?
doing? I am
I,
doing great.
I heard. I am so happy that the mouth is starting to respond.
Yes,
So that
because
is so cool. Okay.
and I'm feeling like yesterday midday I was just like, am I going to do anything with my life? You know, because I'm sitting here in
Yes.
pain and nothing's
Mm-hmm.
happening, and it's like, oh, my mind is gone. And then I was like, no, shut up, son. Like, you got
Mm-hmm.
this. You're doing good shit. Like, you just can't see it right now.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard to be in those moments, man.
It really is, but I know those moments oh so well.
Yeah,
That's what my mind, and that's why I said my mantra was: no matter how I feel, I'm totally healed. No matter how I feel, I'm totally healed. And
that's it.
I would be in so much shit. Okay, I'm gonna say it
Oh,
like that.
man.
Yeah. So that doing those things for, and it's my mouth pain that helped my mouth pain, but. That mantra that I say, no matter how, it helps every day. If I feel anything,
Yeah.
I begin to say that because if I focus on that which I feel as discomfort, then the discomfort only gets greater, even though there's a reason for it. But even when there's a reason for it, and I say that mantra, guess what? That discomfort backs its ass off.
You know, like I've been doing, I'm preparing for this dark retreat, and I've been doing these meditations, and the meditations are great, but when I step
Hmm.
away from a meditation, which I have to do at some point,
Yes.
like
Yes.
it's hard to bring your mind back. I mean, I've been all right, but
You
I'm glad
sound
that I'm
good
feeling good.
though.
I'm
You
glad that I'm
sound
feeling
you
good
sound
today.
like you back. You sound like
Yeah,
you
I'm back.
back.
I'm
Okay.
back. Martin John's back, bitch. What's
All
up,
right. All right.
motherfucker?
All right.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
let me get a number from you.
Either 5 or 55. I don't know if you did either one of those this morning or not, but
I
I woke up with.
didn't, but I'm
Okay.
gonna choose five for you
Okay.
because why not?
Mm-hmm.
The Tao doesn't take sides. It gives birth to both good and evil. The Master doesn't take sides. She welcomes both saints and sinners. The Tao is like a bellows. It is empty yet infinitely capable. The more you use it, the more it produces. The more you talk about it, the less you understand it. Hold on to the center. And that's it.
Okay,
Short and
that's
sweet.
short and sweet and easy to just like, hey,
And
stay balanced. It's just like,
because it's
uh
short, I'm gonna read another translation.
okay,
This Hogan translation is really nice. I think you and I like this one. The
okay,
Tao is neutral. It doesn't care
mm-hmm,
about good and evil. The
mm-hmm,
masters are neutral and treats everyone the same. The Tao is like a bellows. It empties, but it could help set the world on fire.
mm-hmm,
If you keep using it, if you keep using the Tao, it works better. If you keep talking about the Tao, it won't make any sense.
mm-hmm.
Keep cool. Keep cool.
Okay, so basically, it's about staying balanced with the good and the bad, recognizing that both shall occur, and keeping your mind balanced regardless to what's happening. And
Mm-hmm.
when it says follow full into you express what's going on, your growth and stuff, but don't try and define it and try and say, well, this is this and this is that, because then you're taking sides because you're labeling it at that time.
No.
Just be and experience whatever it is, because whatever it is going to be good for you,
You know,
regardless.
I talk to a lot of people all the time about the idea that you have to recognize what you're capable of. I don't know if you and I talked about this before,
Hmm.
but it makes sense to talk to you about this. Is the idea that we are capable of hurting people.
Yes,
We
yes.
each and every one of us is capable of hurting people. And if you think you're not capable of hurting somebody,
Eh,
then there is something within you that you're afraid of.
there it is.
You know, and when we talk about this idea that the Tao doesn't take sides, it gives birth to both good and evil. The Tao is within you, thus
Hmm.
you hold within yourself both good and evil. And if you turn your back on the evil, then it can just sneak up on you.
Yes, buddy. And that's what I talk about when I talk about the mirror. That
Mm-hmm.
people are just our reflections, and then that, and if you get in that reflection that's something inadequate or bad or a judgment or whatever, we have to look at ourselves and see that it's part of ourselves. It's not part of the other, you
Right.
know. Even though the other is shining the light on it for us, because again, if we're walking in the light, darkness cannot invade light. Only light helps light, but darkness cannot enter into light. It just does not have no light. But you can put light in darkness and it does have an effect. But the whole thing is, without light there wouldn't be darkness, without darkness there wouldn't be light, because you wouldn't know the dichotomy. Okay, so the thing
You
is
can't
that
experience it,
you
right?
can't
Within
experience it, right?
darkness exists.
Yes,
Darkness is the feminine. Darkness is the thing that is the foundation of all things. Without, like, darkness is where light is born, because without darkness,
yes.
you can't see the light.
There it is, right there. So it is just like I said, it's about maintaining balance and not trying to control and whatever and label things as good or bad or a high or low or narcissist. Or I'm so tired of that word, boy. I'm tired of that word because people don't use it right on here.
No,
But
they just want to. Everybody's a narcissist. Everybody's a narcissist.
so
It's like,
it's like,
shut the
I
hell
listen
up.
to it and I'm like, okay, wait, y'all. There's a whole lot of stuff that goes with that. Yeah, people have selfish behavior, but selfish behavior is not narcissism.
That's
Okay.
right. That's right.
Selfish behavior is not narcissism. Narcissism is a whole nother monster. And that monster, if you really encounter that monster, you really understand that. Okay. But most
Hmm.
people have experienced somebody who is totally extremely selfish, didn't care about their needs.
And you know what I found? A lot of people that yell about narcissists are just selfish.
It's just, the thing is, they see the selfishness in the other because it's in them.
It's in
That's
them.
what I,
That's what I'm
that's,
talking about.
and the thing is, and then when you label if you label somebody a narcissist, you're taking the role of a victim.
That's right. And
Okay.
it's so easy to be a victim.
And it's that part where you're supposed to just maintain balance, recognize that the good, the bad in them is bad in you, and the good in you and the
Hmm.
good is good in them.
Yeah,
And the
when you
thing
can
is,
realize that that's in you.
yes. And and even if you don't know it's in you from this lifetime, it may be in you from in your DNA. It may be in you from another lifetime, because your DNA is a history of your whole akashic record of all the time that your soul has been here.
And
So
everything is in you anyway, because it's all potential.
yes,
Everything, the
everything.
potential for everything is within you.
Yeah, and when you try to hide from it, then you're only hurting yourself.
That's right. That's right.
You try to play
Because
up.
then you're shielding your eyes from the truth.
Yes, and if you go all in on the good side, you get caught up in what they call the white hole in space, okay, and
Hmm.
you get compressed. because can't nothing travel through that light hole unless it has that darkness with it.
Yes,
And then as you
man.
go into the
Yes,
darkness hole, then you get lost in space. This is space stuff.
that's
Okay,
right.
but if you combine the dark hole with the white hole with the black hole, then you actually have a symbiotic engine and thing that can take that space travel.
Yeah,
Okay, because they said the black hole is lost in space and the white hole gets you two different dimensions. So, but when they marry, they get to the black don't lose and the white don't lose. They're able to marry, and then your Merkaba is able to travel back and forth. Okay, so it's only in the balance of the light and dark that we are. You
right. And
know,
so we got to recognize that there is neutrality. And then here it says the master doesn't take sides. She welcomes both saints and sinners.
that's right.
And
That's
that's the
real.
thing. Like so many, like when we talk about addiction, we talk about all this stuff. Like there's all this argument about like you're killing yourself and you're doing all this, and so you're bad, there's a moral problem here, and it's like, nah, bitch, like y'all got problems too, like we just decided to do things you didn't like.
Addiction is addiction is
That's
addiction
right.
is addiction is triadic is triadic is triadic is addiction is addiction is addiction.
Yeah, it doesn't
Okay,
it
it
does it's
doesn't
not.
matter whether it's drugs and alcohol, whether it's shopping, whether it's being like
Whether
you
it's
said,
hoarding money,
whether it's
like,
hoarding money or being under
yeah,
the influence of childhood disasters.
yep,
It
yep,
doesn't matter if you're addicted, and it doesn't matter what the addiction is to. And the thing is, we are human beings. We will gravitate towards something to alleviate the pain. That's what they call
that's
ego
right,
defense mechanisms. So it's like once you know that these are part of you, the good and the bad, the bitter and the sweet, the up and the down, all that is part of our journey. And we just have to know that, hey, if we got some good coming on, the bad's not going to show. But it ain't about watching the shoe drop. It's not
that's
about
right,
watching the shoe drop, because the shoe don't have to drop. Because the thing is that if you know there's going to be good and bad, there's a right foot and a left foot. Okay, guess what? You just got to be in the middle. That way you're not as affected as so much by the good or the bad. And then you're only affected because you're labeling it good and bad.
that's right,
You,
and you're
you're,
saying
you're,
good, bad, right,
you're
wrong, saints,
okay.
sinners, like it's
I like
all
how
in the
my
word.
sister says it. She says you get an experience, and then you throw your cloak of emotion on that experience, and then you start riding that shit. So
Yeah,
whatever you label it, when you put emotions on it, you've made it manifest for you, no matter what it is, and maybe may not be a manifestation you want. So you don't want to put a cloak on lack and ride it with emotion. Like, oh my God, I wish you don't want to put dread on the, you know what I'm saying? It's like, no, keep those adjective qualifiers off of stuff and just say, it is, I am. Okay,
that's
yeah,
right.
this
Period.
shit.
Period. I am.
Period,
Period.
period, period. I learned my lesson. I didn't open my mouth too much, open said the wrong shit, or thinking that I can be all good. That
Yeah.
shit makes you crazy
Hmm.
because you can't be all good. You have
No, you
dark
can't.
in
You have to
you.
be. It ain't about
Yes.
being good or being bad. And, we move on into this Tao. It says the Tao is like a bellows. That blowing air on something, but like that's fuel, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
fire needs fuel. It's empty yet
That's right.
infinitely capable. Like the fuel that fire needs, the air. You push that in there, and that fire gets hot, and
Yeah.
so it can melt. Like that bellows is the thing that's going to help you melt steel.
There it is.
The
There it
more you
is.
use it, the more it produces. It's producing all that heat. The more you
Wait, wait.
talk about it, the less you understand it.
There it is. It's kind of like a pickaxe chipping away at a diamond. Okay, that diamond, when you first look at it, is a big old lump of coal. But
Yeah,
as it gets hit with that damn hard ass pickaxe, and if you ever yielded a pickaxe, you understand what I'm saying. Because I like tools, and I got all my tools. I love to try picking at rocks, man. That was fun digging in the dirt. But if the pickaxe is hitting that piece of coal as it chips away, I don't know if coal has a feeling, but if it has a feeling, the vibration changes, and then it chips off some. And every time it chips away, when we finish getting chipped at, okay, the good and bad, the diamond is in the center of that shit, okay? but it has to get chipped away to get to. And chipping away don't feel good in any means of the word. And people will try all kinds of means of escape from the pain, or try to deny the pain, or say the pain isn't there, when all they have to do is embrace it and know that at the end of this, you're going to be a diamond. You're going to be that fine, pure gold, because it's been, all the shit has been burned away that didn't belong on it. So it's, to me, it's like, again, take the adjectives off of stuff
That's
and
right.
just
Just be.
experience this, an experience for growth, and say, how am I growing from this, good or bad? What is my growth potential in this, good or bad? It doesn't matter. And you stay in that neutral place, stuff don't seem to bother you as much, because you ain't putting an emotional cloak around nothing.
That's right. And that's
So
where we end this. We're just like, hold on to the center.
yes,
Don't
I
don't
thank
don't
you.
go out to the side. Yeah. I thank
Yes,
you,
yes,
baby. Thank
yes,
you so
yes.
much. You have a wonderful weekend.
Oh, I will. Thank you. I'm on my way, getting ready to go to Cali. So
Oh, hit it, girl. Go
yeah, because I
on.
get to see my family and friends and all that. I get to meet some new people that I met on this app. So I'm
Oh,
I'm
good.
I'm excited about the journey. You know, usually I used to dread it more. I'm gonna be real, because after she passed away, I dreaded going back to California and back and forth, because I used to go every month. Okay, and then I went. So this year I've only been like 3 times. And I know. But now, like I said, I got new friends to see and new stuff to do. Now I'm kind of excited about going.
Well, good.
So
I'm glad.
it's a growth. It's growth for me. That's growth for me. You know.
Good.
So
Well, you
I
keep growing, girl,
appreciate
because
you.
that is, we love you.
I love you too, Martin. Okay.
Bye bye. Okay, we're bringing Graciela on now, and then Energy Lady, unless Cicely comes back in.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. I mean, I would
I
like to just do a little parentheses and say to anyone listening who is a survivor of real narcissistic abuse, I just want to extend my love and my hugs, because that is no light topic
no.
to discuss, really. But yeah, good morning. How are you?
I am doing very well. It's been a long week with tooth pain, but I am getting through
I
it.
know,
So
tooth pain is the worst, isn't it?
I didn't know. This is my first toothache. So
Hashtag
yeah.
adulting. You're in that part now.
Yeah. Now that yeah, I'm gonna lose a tooth. So
Oh my gosh.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
there it is. That's
Yeah.
the beginning,
Well,
I guess.
right. Well, let's just I'm just gonna hope that it ends soon, right? That it's not a long crucible for you
Yeah, no,
with this tooth.
I've been taking the antibiotics, and it's no longer painful. So, and we
Good.
got I do have an extraction date. So,
Good.
there's light. There's light, and it will
Yes,
all
there's
be
hope
done
for
before
you.
I head down to Guatemala for my dark retreat. I don't know if you know about that, but I'm doing a dark retreat. So
And so when you're in Guatemala, we won't be getting the Tao of the day.
yeah, the Tao of the Day will be on pause for about 10 days or so, just as I sit in the darkness alone.
Wow. Well, we will miss you. You will be dearly missed. We are all
Yeah, but then
addicted to wisdom over here.
I'll be coming back and telling stories. It'll be fun.
Good, good. So I have a number for you,
Yep.
because it's it's the 4th of March and my plants got rained on. So let's do 34.
34. Your plans got rained on.
Yep.
Is it raining
Oh,
where you are?
no, my plans, I'm no longer doing what I was doing.
Oh, okay. Well, here you are with me.
Right. Well, no,
That's
it
a
was later on during the day, but I was going to be here in the morning anyway. But now
yeah.
I'm going to be here all day. So yeah.
All right. Well, that's, welcome to a pandemic. Be here all
Right.
day.
Yes.
Okay. The great Tao flows everywhere. All things are born
Mm.
from it, yet it doesn't create them. It pours itself into its work, yet it makes no claim. It nourishes infinite worlds, yet it doesn't hold on to them. Since it is merged with all things and hidden in their hearts, it can be called humble. Since all things vanish into it, and it alone endures, it can be called great. It isn't aware of its greatness. Thus, it is truly great.
Beautiful. Yeah. I love that first line, how it started.
The great Tao flows everywhere.
Yeah.
I've said this before, bringing the beginning and end together. Thus it is truly great. It isn't aware of its greatness, thus it is truly great. The great Tao flows everywhere. It is when
So,
there is a part of us, that that is great. Like there's a part of us that is infinite within us. We can touch this. We
oh
can
yeah.
we can be a part of that. That
Hmm.
depth of greatness is within us. It flows everywhere, and we are
Mm,
it.
right.
And I think that moves us into this next thing. All things are born from it, yet it doesn't create them.
Mm.
What are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts were on that first line still. I feel like it brings me a lot of comfort because what I had planned was a visit to the temple to serve and to pray for my dear friend who needs a kidney. And then when that
Mm,
got canceled, well, of course, there's a deflation. I had put so much hope in this. I go to the temple only once a month. And so my meeting for this
mm,
month is canceled, right? And
yeah.
so to know it brings great comfort to know that, just to put it in the context of the church, right, the spirit is everywhere. It's not
Yes.
just at the temple. I don't need to hike up the mountain to feel it and to be embraced by it, and then to use it in a productive way as well, which I think I got some of that as well in the second line or third line.
All things are born from it, yet it doesn't create them.
And then what happened after that?
It pours itself into its work, yet it
There you
makes
go.
no claim.
Yes, that one. That's the one that touched me. It pours itself into its work. I mean, it's almost like the I'm being told it's okay. Don't just think about it and ponder the fact that you are missing out on that. Just focus on serving in your home, serving in your work. You see where I'm going with
Yes.
that? Oh, yeah. I
I
kept
also,
I kept
you know,
listening and hearing 34, 34, 34. So there it is.
it's interesting also, like you talk about like going up the side of the mountain and getting to the temple, and
Hmm.
this idea of all things are born from it, yet it doesn't create them. It's born from being, right? Like
Hmm.
all things are born from the Tao, and it's interesting that so often we look at the journey of getting to a place as being able to create that space and create that, and like the temple is the place, but it's
Hmm.
like, no, right here on the corner is the place. But I
Right,
get to walk up a side of a mountain. It's like, yeah, but I get to go to the corner store, right?
right.
Like all of those things are equal, and it's
And I
all
am
about,
a temple.
yes,
So how can I focus on that today, right?
yes,
Hmm.
yes, and then not make a claim, right? Because when you go to the temple, when you walk up the mountain, you like there's a lot of claims. You just pour yourself into your work, whether or not that's walking up the side of the mountain to go to the temple or walking to the corner store to get like, you know, a box of crackers or whatever it is, right?
Right,
Like like you pour yourself into the work that you're doing right now. That's
right.
you. That's the Tao. Because the
Yeah,
Tao
and I
flows
love,
everywhere.
mm, and I love the reminder that I can serve in the temple and it is just as valuable as how I serve outside of it.
You can serve in the temple and as the temple.
As the temple? What do you mean?
Like you are the temple.
I mean, yeah, well, my body is a temple for sure, and the spirit is within me, blah blah blah. But I mean, like the comfort of knowing that, okay, I don't get to go to the temple to serve today, but I can still serve here.
Yes.
And it's just as valuable. That's what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely.
At least, right, at least in the eyes of the one that matters.
Right,
And
absolutely.
mhm. Yeah, and so that brings a lot of comfort and peace. And it's not that I was doubting that that's how I was going to feel. If I
No.
I knew that I was being pushed to the Tao to get comfort,
Mm.
because I mean, what else is there when someone is trying to do the right thing and then something happens? um Comfort is the first thing that's needed, I feel like, so that we can all just get back to that baseline. And then move forward. So like this is the baseline right now, this conversation allowing me to just get out of that angst of like, oh, my plans are, canceled, blah
Yeah.
blah blah, what am I gonna do now, and I really was looking forward to that and all that. And now it's like, okay, just hang up the dial and get to work, and it's okay. You see
Yeah.
where I'm going? Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you
It
so
nourishes
much.
it nourishes infinite worlds, yet it holds on to none of them.
Mm.
And like,
I
you know,
feel
you
like,
go on, please.
well, no, I was just gonna say that just reminds me of like putting your efforts out there, and whoever is going to receive them, you do your part by putting your efforts out there. However they're received is not up to you.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah, I always say like what I say and what you hear have nothing to do with one another.
Yes,
Like
exactly.
I can't control what you hear, but I will say what I need to say and you will hear what you need to hear.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, and perception is everything.
Yep.
This
Everything.
yeah, the CEO, I have a quote on my Instagram from the CEO of the company where I got certified, Journey Coaching. She's fabulous. She's amazing. And she says, perception, we all have that power of perception. If you choose to look at one thing and not the other, then that's on you. Because the thing is the thing. And however you look at it is your responsibility. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, those are real words.
Yeah, under that idea, I'm always like, the thing is the thing, but you'll never know it.
Mm,
Because you can't approach it without your perception, because your
right.
perception is everything. So
Hmm.
there is a truth out there, but you'll never know it.
Right.
So understand that everything that's coming in is from you. Since it is
Mm,
merged with all things and hid it in their hearts, it can be called humble.
yeah. I mean, humility is huge. Um, I feel like in understanding it and embracing it. As a survivor, I feel like you learn a lot of humility, even against your will, right? You're made
Yeah,
humble in a way, and
absolutely.
so it's really big, and it's a great reminder. Of course, I feel like if I was not humble, I would be really angry about what's going on,
Right.
or I would have made an argument about how, you know, someone was supposed to watch my son and now they're not.
Right.
So on and so
How you
forth.
would
But
how you would be the victim of the life of another.
of
Like,
course,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And why are you doing this to me and ruining my
That's
plans?
right.
And it's like,
That's right.
no, it's moving on to the next thing. And of course, now I'm looking forward to whatever blessing is in store. Of course, outside of this conversation, it's such a blessing to connect with you and all the mentors here. But now I'm curious what gift or blessing, if any, I will receive today in a sort of a token of appreciation because my plans were ruined. I mean, the Lord is very aware of our desires. And so I'm very certain that the Lord is aware of my desire to serve and my desire to go to the temple and make time for that. And so I'm just going to go online and pick a different date and see
Yeah.
where that takes me. Hopefully, the sitter is available then. And hopefully, I go soon. I'm not sure if you've been listening, but my one friend is in need of a kidney. And so I've been very focused on just, sending love and good vibes and healing and all that jazz her way.
Yeah.
I'm kind of afraid that it may be a little too late, but at the same time, the faith within me says it's never too late. Just send it
It's never too
anyway,
late. You
right?
know, as I mean, I do a lot of energy healing and stuff, and you can send healing back in time before they were ever ill.
Mm, that's
You can
interesting.
send you can send healing and prayers to them before they were born.
Wow.
So I mean, we have to hold like, and this is the Tao. There is
Right.
no time.
Mm-hmm,
You
mm-hmm.
right
I
now,
get it now.
yeah, you right now may have, um, like, it's crazy. We talk about past lives, but past lives could have happened in the future as well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so like understanding your actual greatness, like, and that's what we end with.
Yeah, and
Since all things
transcending.
vanish into it, it alone endures. It endures throughout time. The Tao endures, and
So beautiful.
because of that, it can be called great. and it
Right.
endures without the concept of linear time. So there is
Mm,
never too late, literally.
right. I love that. Thank you so much. And
Yes.
it brings me to another quote I shared with one of my clients. I thought I was a late bloomer until I realized that it's kind of negative self-talk to say that, because there is no late bloomer. There is just a bloom. That's it. They all bloom in different times, and they're not competing against one another. They're not even aware. They're only aware of themselves. And so that reminds me of that, because I mean, yeah, there's time is an illusion.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a concept. It's definitely man-made, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
um,
it's all part of perception.
right, right.
That's
Well,
it.
what a great
Because
reminder. Thank
yeah,
you.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And then the last line here is just, it isn't aware of its greatness. Thus, it is truly great. When we talk about like awakening or blooms and all of this, we're like, oh, there's greatness in that. Nope, nope. It's just we are here. That's it.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm,
there is
mm-hmm.
no, and there is nothing that you can do to be greater than you are right now. So going to the temple is not change your greatness.
Right. Yeah.
That is
Thank you so
inherent
much.
within you.
Right.
Absolutely. Thank you. I
Yes, I
appreciate you
appreciate that.
joining me.
Yes, of course. Thank you. I'll keep listening. I appreciate you, Martin John. Talk to you soon.
Yes.
Bye. Have a great Friday.
You as well. We're bringing Energy Lady on, and then we have 3 other people in line: Sharente, Catherine, and I didn't catch the last person. Energy Lady, how you doing, love?
Good morning. All right,
Good.
you're live. That's good. I was gonna text you yesterday and I forgot.
I am doing spectacular.
Did you have it taken out? Did
Thank
you
you,
have it all taken
antibiotics. What's that?
out? Did they take it out yet?
No, I got I got an extraction on the 18th, but I'm gonna see an oral surgeon because I still have all my wisdom teeth and they're all impacted, so I might have to get both this and the wisdom tooth taken out. But if I can get through the pain, like I just don't want to be down in Guatemala in a dark room and have this happen. So that would suck ass. So
No, I just like the way you said that. I just don't want to.
yeah. No, I mean, if I have to, I will. But I'd rather not.
Well, just so you know, that beautiful energy healing you're doing could take out a 3/4 of the pain, if not more than that, on the first day.
Yeah, we're doing a lot. We're doing a lot of healing these days. A lot of
Yeah.
healing,
No,
and a lot's coming up. So it's
yeah,
good.
I've been able to help people with wisdom teeth that same day, and they don't go through the massive, because it's the trauma of the operation,
Yeah.
body wise. Anyway, we'll talk.
Yeah.
Number 66. I don't know if that's been pulled yet, but
No, even if it is, I got other translations. But no, we got 66 for you. All streams flow to the sea because it is lower than they are. Humility gives it its power. If you want to govern the people, you must place yourself below them. If you want to lead the people, you must learn how to follow them. The master is above the people, and no one feels oppressed. She goes ahead of the people, and no one feels manipulated. The whole world is grateful to her. Because she competes with no one can compete with her.
and there you go. My my
Doo-doo.
least my least favorite thing is when people compete with me, and all we're
Mm.
doing is having a conversation, and
Oh,
they've got to one up me, and it's just a conversation, and that goes with any aspect of what I've done in my life. And I realized I came up with what I'm doing just this morning. The
yeah, every
entire
day is like a big aha moment for you.
Oh my God, yeah, welcome to my world. That's all I got. It really is welcome to my world. This is how I process. I think it's the way I survived my life.
Yeah.
Once I was able to own it. But yes, I got the big picture, and I went, oh my God, no wonder I couldn't come up with it. It's a totally different title, but it's the energies behind it, and I love it because it gives me the whole picture. It gives me the whole picture, and I don't. And the best part about it, Martin John, is that I know with what I have coming, I am not in charge. I'm simply a person who's going to share and will continue to share my experiences and see who resonates and who wants to support the same cause that I have on their level.
Yeah.
Just explained that whole thing right there.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Cool.
absolutely.
So let's go. Let's play with
Yeah.
lines, buddy.
All streams flow to the sea because it is lower than they are. You know, and humility gives it its power. Like the sea, the ocean. Like it is. You live near the ocean, right? Is that right?
About an hour away, but yes,
Yeah,
closer
yeah.
than a
So I
lot.
mean, you see it. I don't. I live in Chicago, so I have a lake that appears to
I
be
was
an
gonna
ocean.
say you got a bay or something, right?
Yeah, we have Lake Michigan. It appears to be an ocean, but it's still not as powerful
As a real
as,
ocean.
you know, like. And I've been to both the Jersey Shore, and I've been to the shore, the Western Shore. So I've been to both oceans, and I've been in Taipei, so I've seen the Pacific that way as well. But you know, the power behind the ocean is fucking unreal.
You know what the ocean does for me is it reminds me that there's no limit. There's absolutely no limit, because when people tell me that we're in a drought, I'm like, have you seen the ocean? It's never dried up.
Yeah.
So the drought is a mindset of, I want to say, victimization, scarcity, of we can't. And there's always, and nature is nature. And so, yeah, it always reminds me of what we're connected to, because no matter what, yeah, it takes out houses, but that's only because we got in the way of the nature.
Right.
So, yeah, that's pretty cool.
You know, there's this idea of like humility. You know, humility gives it its power.
Can you describe in your understanding of humility?
Humility is, you know, like you're talking about when you have a conversation, somebody who wants to one up you is not being humble, right? They're not being.
Oh, I didn't say that. I don't like it.
Well, no, I'm saying it. I mean, you know, like, yeah, you don't like it. I mean, but to be able to, like, if the reason that they're doing it is to one up, you know, like if they're coming from a very honest place, but being humble, being in a space of receiving. That's how I see humility. Humility is like able to receive.
So there's no top, there's no bottom. It is what it is.
Right. Yeah.
And I will say that you're an example for me. So thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I'm honored to hear that. If you want to govern the people, you must place yourself below them.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to lead the people, you must learn how to follow them.
You know what's really cool about that is I was having this conversation yesterday, and I said, you know, I truly believe, and it has been said to me, I wasn't aware of the vastness of who I am for so long, because I was meant to become very compassionate, and to me, humility and compassionate come together. Humble.
Yeah.
Because it's an understanding, and to me, it's an energetic vibrational pattern understanding, and allowing the situation in life to be what it is. And that's not something I was raised with. So it's, just around at all until just recently. So that's really cool, because I am a very compassionate person, and I will not judge you for who you are. I might sit there and, like, I just realized that I couldn't figure out why as an example, my ex-husband and my sisters used to mock me and laugh at me when I was hurting. And then I heard the entire description of what somebody understood with narcissism. And I went, that's what it is. But I'm not calling them a narcissist. That's an energetic pattern that I never understood why I kept jumping into.
Right.
And I went, and I just realized it's because I was in my mom's, I was in my mom, and her patterns were that. And so at least I understand that and say, as people say, thank you, Jesus, for allowing me to see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's not a label. But there's times when it's like calling me a girl. I'm not going to say that I'm a boy just to make people happy. I'm going to say, no, I'm a girl, you know. And it's the same thing with a narcissist. I was really trying to understand where the enjoyment of somebody's mind was to tear down people and laugh and mock at it and love watching the person squirm. I never understood that.
Right.
And but now I do, but it's what I got to do is go, "Oh, okay, step left, keep walking." And that's what I
Right.
did. Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's not on you.
Right, but
You know, like this.
I love the idea of being able to find the pattern of understanding that humans have come up with, so I can understand what is not me. And people do get stuck on labels, just like addiction. People do get stuck on labels. I don't. I acknowledge the label and I go, "Oh, now do I want to stay in it or do I want to step left?" And that's when I get to make that conscious choice, because I
Yeah.
didn't make a conscious choice, as a human going, "Yeah, I'm going to just keep screwing my life up because, I want to be a victim." No.
Well, those. I mean, that is. I mean,
No, that is a
like
choice of a lot, and there is a choice of people who aren't. I'm
right.
truly standing, and that's where this whole thing is. I don't consider myself above saying, "Oh, I've survived," and I don't consider myself below if I'm a victim. I consider myself me, and let's see where my light shines for other people to come in and say, "I want to be with you." That's
Yeah.
simple. That's
And
simple.
I think like what this is saying is like, like there's another translation that says if you want to reach people, if you want to teach people, don't talk down to them.
Oh my
If you
God,
want to
yes.
govern people, don't place yourself, if you want to govern people, you must place yourself below them, which means like
No.
in this other translation that states if you want to teach people, don't talk down to them. If you
Yeah,
want to lead
and there's
people,
no way
find
I
out where
can.
they want to go.
Right. And you do this.
Yeah.
What,
Thank you.
who are you? Who are you and where are you? Because I can't be with you unless you let me know where you're at, because otherwise then I'm in control and there's no possible way.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's pretty much the summation in my
Yeah.
interpretation, buddy.
The master is above the people and no one feels oppressed.
Yep.
She goes ahead of the people and no one feels manipulated.
Yep. That's me. That's where I want to be.
Yeah. The
But see,
whole
what
world is
I've had a
grateful to her.
challenge on that, and I'm going to say it out loud, is the challenge that I have run into is I didn't realize I wasn't in the correct energetic circle. I thought that so many people would want this, and I didn't realize that whole thing that people talk about, your culture, your tribe, just finding out who works with you vibrational. And I didn't understand that because I really didn't understand why people just
Yeah.
didn't want it. And I'm not judging. I just didn't
No,
understand.
no, 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 no. But it's like not understanding why people don't want that, what's best for others, and want that
Hmm.
like,
For
it-
themselves.
yeah, and
Hmm.
well, yeah. It is often, I mean, we were talking a number of times today about bringing that back home to us and being like, well, where maybe am I not making those choices for myself as well? You
And
know.
and you know what? I found it, and that's
Yep.
what I was going to go with. Is the thing
Yeah.
I found is that I have learned just recently that I'm number one, and
Yeah.
I mean learned it inside of my energies.
Yeah.
And I went, "Oh shit!" That's what I said. I went,
Hmm.
Okay, there's my journey," which it means I can't be above or below. I can only be,
Right. Yeah. And
because
then
I
the
know I'm
whole.
not perfect and I know I'm not knowing. So all
Yeah.
that.
And then it finishes up with this: the whole world is grateful to her. But that also means that she is grateful to her, right?
Yes,
Because she
absolutely.
competes with no one can compete with her.
Yes,
And I think that that's the thing. Like when we're open to that, when we're open to that struggle or strife or whatever, then it finds us.
yes,
And when we can embrace ourselves in that really deep way, embrace ourselves in that way of being, then we're in that space of like, oh, not only are people maybe trying to one up me, but I don't even notice it. Like whatever, like I'm just doing my thing. I'm
right.
out
And,
here.
and at the same time, it's like I was asking a question about somebody else, and I'm like, "What's going on?" And in my head, I went, "Oh, th- we're just not there. We're not energetically together." I look at magnets. It's like I think the magnets flipped, and we can't come together in this moment. Okay, and that's really how I do it. And the one upping, I know where it came from. So it's like, oh, now I know what it is. So there's something about me that I get to own.
Explore. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's the work. That is all of it. And that's and just opening up to the just opening up to the awareness of that is I always feel like that's really the beginning and the end. Like
Well,
because
that's my
it
whole life. That's
yeah,
my whole life because
yeah,
I
it
have this
worked
little
itself.
thing. It's called the A trifecta, which is first awareness, then allowance. I mean, then acceptance, and then allowance.
Yeah.
So it's it's awareness. You have to become aware. That's part of life. It's
Yep.
plugging into whatever, unplugging or whatever, and then accepting it because some people skip that part because we're not, it's definitely something that's not thrown out there. And then the allowance is going, all right, it's going to happen or whatever. And
Right.
I'm not in charge is my point. I just know that awareness and acceptance are my two. Those are mine. The rest of it comes together to where I can know what's next for me. I don't know if that makes sense, but I hope it
And
does.
it makes absolute sense. It makes
So I call that
absolute
I call that the AAA trifecta. You like it?
AAA. I do like that.
Hmm.
Like, and I was a gambler, so I know all about the
Oh, how funny. Oh,
trifecta.
that's funny. See, I love it. I love it. I love it. And I'm not. So that's awesome.